Please start by coming to a seated position on your mat. Inhale your shoulders to your ears and give them a squeeze. Exhale, bring your shoulders back and down, relax. And let your palms flip open on your knees. Draw your tailbone down. Notice how that brings your belly in a little bit and draw the crown of your head up. See how elevating the crown of your head lengthens the rest of your spine, making you taller, longer through the sides of your body. Today's class is going to be a hip opening class. And our hips are often very tight because we're sitting all the time. Our hips deal with our sacral chakra and our need for intimacy, connection. And so often today we're alone or busy, hustling. Even when we're with people, it's become so mundane to us that we don't really honor or connect with the people that we're with sometimes. We just act like it's normal. For today's class, we're going to be opening up our intimacy center. And I want you to think about how can you open up to others in your life. When you practice flexibility in your physical body, how does that equal flexibility in your internal world? Can physical flexibility help to create mental flexibility? And can mental flexibility help to create physical flexibility? Bring your palms together at heart center. Press into your hands and press your shoulder blades together simultaneously. Bow into your heart. Thank yourself for coming today. Roll onto your hands and knees. We're going to start with our cat-cow pulsations to warm up the spine. So just find your foundation in your hands, plugging down through the four corners, maybe clawing your fingers into the mat to really plug down through your index finger mound. And inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, lift your sitting bones. Exhale, curve your spine towards the ceiling, press into your shoulders, tailbone comes in. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your sitting bones, lift your gaze. Cow pose. And exhale, spine to ceiling, gaze looks in, tailbone tucks in. Cat pose. Continue pulsing with your breath. When you inhale, really stretch your spine. Really feel the stretch, and when you're exhaling, really press up into your spine and create that compression. Two more breaths here. Take them really slow, slower than you want to. If you're done your last breath, do one more. Beautiful. Come to a neutral spine. Make sure your wrist creases are pointing forward. Pedal in through your hands for a moment. Your toes are still curled under. Lift your right knee to the side and kick your right leg back. Bend your right leg and drop your knee. So we're going to do that 10 times. Lift your right knee up, kick your right leg back, bend your right knee, and drop your right leg. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, more than halfway there. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Sit back onto your toes, onto your heels with your toes curled under. This is your thunderbolt posture. You're stretching out the backs of the feet, strengthening the toes, stretching out the thighs and the quadriceps. Don't let it be painful, but discomfort is welcomed. This is how we grow. So come forward onto your hands and knees and tabletop. We're going to do the other side. Make sure you're plugging down through the 4 corners of your hands. That means your hands are constantly engaged. We can't forget about them. Inhale, lift your left knee to the side. Extend your left leg, bend your left leg, and drop your left knee. Continue for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Beautiful. Send your glutes towards your heels. Extend your arms out in front of you. Tent your fingers. Lift the underlining of your arms. And allow your heart to melt. Your glutes should be a little more or less kind of hovering over your knees. They could be a little bit behind your knees. And this helps your heart melt to the earth. Bring your shoulder blades together onto your back. Lift the underlining of your arms and allow that to let your heart melt even more. Breathe into your upper back. Soften it with your breath. Beautiful. Come up through tabletop and press up and back into downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet for a moment. Taking a few breaths here. Look towards your feet. You can step or hop to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend into your knees. Sweep your arms up and overhead. Palms down through heart center and alongside your waist. Beautiful. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Bring your feet wider than hip width apart by a good amount. And have your feet pointed to the corners of the room. So they're on a bit of a diagonal. Find the four corners of your feet, just shifting your feet around, lifting your toes, making sure you can feel your foundation plugging in. Take the time to always find your foundation. Tuck your tailbone, drawing it down to the earth so it's not coming forward. We're not tucking it so much like that. We're tucking it ever so much that our tailbones are not pointed backwards, so that it's pointed down. Our bellies are drawing in, our shoulders are on our backs, helping our arms kind of flip so our palms are open to the sides of the room. Bring your shoulders onto your back and bring the nape of your neck back just ever so slightly. So that's almost like you're tilting your ears towards the top of the room and just pivoting your jaw down a little bit. So you're not looking down, you're not really tilting your head down, but what you're doing is creating this almost like lift through the crown of your head, which draws up and lengthens and aligns the rest of your spine. Inhale your arms up into goalposts, palms facing each other. Pinkies begin to spin backwards, which helps our shoulder blades come onto our backs, our chests open. And slower than you want to, begin to squat into a seat. Your knees should be coming out to the sides of the room. And when your hips have come about 90 degrees with your knees, or just above that, pause. This is your goddess pose. So the way that we prevent this from hurting our back is that we tuck our tailbone, so we don't have our tailbones tucked back. They're downwards, and that really prevents this tightening in our backs. We're going to hold this for a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then pulse for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Smile here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're going to come up for a count of 10. So slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Beautiful. You can bring your hands to your hips. Pivot your toes in one notch, so they're pointing inwards of your heels just a little bit. Bend into your knees, so you've got a generous micro bend, and begin to forward fold. When you reach past your hips, reach your hands for the earth and let your torso hang. Maybe you need to bend more into your knees so that your torso can hang more. So bend into your knees and let yourself drip, and then maybe from that position you can keep your upper body where it is and just begin to strengthen and lengthen the backs of your thighs. And see how this helps you melt forward. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulders onto your back, neck comes back. Walk your hands over to your left leg and exhale, fold. Breathe for a moment. Let your torso drip, maybe bending into your knees to allow it to happen. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands to the center and forward fold. You can grab your elbows here if you want. Just sway from side to side, lightly, front and back. Switch the way that you're gripping your elbows right now. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands over to your right foot and then melt over your right leg. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk your hands to the center. Exhale, fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, come up to rise. Sweep your arms up and overhead. Palms together, hands down through heart center and alongside your hips. Walk, or just actually shift your left foot to point to the front of the room. And make sure your right foot is pointing to the long edge of your mat, front heel to back arch alignment. At first, face your front leg and lunge over it. And then take your arms and just sort of windmill them so you're in a warrior two position. And as you do that, feel your hips opening up. Look over your front fingertips. Expand. Really lunge into your front foot. Feel your hips opening. Draw your tailbone down, strengthen the back of your right thigh, and almost imagine that your front left glute is being pressed up into your body. Beautiful, so you should really be feeling this along the front of your right hip. Inhale your arms up, straighten your front leg. Keep your left leg straight, arms back into a parallel to the earth, warrior two. And shift your right fingertips forward with your front leg straight. Begin to reach your fingertips down towards the earth or a block. You can also rest on your shin so long as you're not pushing your knee back. And open up to the side of the room. This is your triangle pose. Breathe here. See if you can look up to your top fingertips. Beautiful. Bend into your front knee. Come up to stand. Shift your right toes to face the long edge of your mat. And then just shift your left toes to face the short edge of your mat. So now you can begin to lunge into your right leg. Strengthen the back of your left leg. Inhale your arms into warrior two. Imagine that you're opening up through your hips. Draw the back of your left thigh back so you're really strengthening that thigh. As you lunge into your front leg, Feel the stretch and the opening along the front of your left psoas, your hip flexor. And breathe. Straighten your front leg. Inhale your arms up. Exhale your arms parallel to the earth with your legs straight. Shift your front fingertips forward and then begin to point them down towards the earth. Melting your hand down towards the earth or a block. You can rest on your shin. Once again, making sure you've got a micro bend in that knee so you're not hyperextending. And then open up through your chest. Bring your shoulder blades onto your back. And look up towards your top fingertips. Breathe. Maybe soften your face here. Remember to smile. Bend into your front leg. Come up to stand. Face the top of your mat and just step to the top. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together, down through your heart and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. This time plant your hands and step back into a high plank. Tuck your elbows into your sides, drop your knees if you need to, and lower down, chaturanga. Untuck your toes. Press into your hands. You can come up into a cobra or half upwards facing dog where your thighs lift off the mat. And then exhale, curl over your toes back to downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet and breathe here. And come into stillness. Energetically draw your heels towards the earth as you press into your hands. Drop your knees as wide as your mat or just wider than your hip. And bring your big toes together. Sit back in between your thighs. Melt your heart to the earth. Inhale, shift through tabletop and come onto your belly. Press into your right hand and see if you can get your right knee out alongside your right hip. Your right foot should be just a little bit past your right knee, so it's not inwards of your knee, it's just a little outwards. Make a pillow for your head and look towards the left. This is your half frog pose. And it's going to prepare us for full frog, which is our apex pose of the day. Now, full frog is not something that most people can do. So, today's practice, just like every other day, we don't have to be there already. Enjoy this pose as it opens you up, provides you a moment to rest a little bit before we challenge ourselves. Press into your right hand so you can bring your right leg to meet your left. And then press into your left hand, bring your your left knee out alongside you. Left foot comes just a little wider than your left knee and look towards your right. Rest your head on your hands. Press into your left hand. Bring your left leg to meet your right. Press into your hands and come onto your knees for a moment. So we're going to face the long edge of our mat. Make sure that you've got some space behind you and some space in front of you to fold. And if you need an extra little knee cushion, now might be the time. So what you can do is just roll up one edge of your mat and use that for some extra knee support. So come into a position where you can get, where you're facing the long edge of your mat and you can get onto your forearms. Start in tabletop and just begin to slowly walk your knees, to the side. Your feet will eventually rest on the ground and point out to the sides of the room, or you might just stay right about here. Find your bus stop. There's nothing shameful about a bus stop. Mine is right here. This is a form of the splits, so be easy on yourself. We don't want to push too hard. This is your full frog. Breathe here. And if you've gone too far and you're clenching, bring yourself back a little bit and see if you can invite some more softness into your body, into your face, into your breath. Where can you soften here? We have to maintain some engagement, but we don't need to clench. See if you can draw your neck back. Head looks down, gaze looks down. Beautiful. See if you can send your glutes back just a little bit. Beautiful. Press into your hands and using the strength of your hands, create space for your knees to come up. You can turn to face the long edge of your mat. Have your hips wide, your knees wide and your toes together, and send your hips back towards your glutes. Melt forward into child's pose. Beautiful. You can come to sit on your knees for a moment. And then roll over onto your glutes. Bring the soles of your feet together. And bring your feet closer in towards you. Holding your feet, pull your torso more in between your legs, bringing your shoulder blades onto your back, and see if you can use your elbows to press into your thighs and just help them open up a little bit. Breathe. When we challenge ourselves, we nurture ourselves. Sometimes when we nurture ourselves, it's a challenge for us. But when we do take the time to nurture ourselves and challenge ourselves, we allow ourselves to fill our own cup so that we can eventually feel whole enough to give parts of ourselves to others, to want to share who we are, to want to share who others are, to listen and give. But we need to give to ourselves first, to nurture our bodies, our needs, to reach for our goals, to work on ourselves before we can really connect truly to others. Let your legs just flap a little bit here, just tiny, tiny little flaps. But have slow, deep breath. Come into stillness. Using your hands, close your legs like a book so we don't contract muscles that we've just stretched. Extend your legs out the length of your mat and lie back. Bring your feet wider than hip width apart. Let them fall to the sides of the room. Draw your neck towards the ground, so maybe that creates a very slight tuck in your chin, and bring your shoulder blades tucked behind you onto your back. This meditation, I want you to know that thoughts are not the enemy. The point of meditation is not to cease thinking. The mind does what the mind does. It looks for things, it searches, it computes. But you are not your mind. You are the witness that gets to have thoughts. Can you witness your body? Witness any thoughts that come through, and for just a moment realize or recognize that witness in you, that you are that witness, and just tap into that person. Don't make anything wrong. Just watch it. Watch your body breathe. Watch your heartbeat. Watch your skin feel. And watch your thoughts drift by like clouds. Just for a moment, don't identify with anything. Just be. Begin to find some movement into your fingers and toes, your hands and feet, wrists and ankles. Bring your feet together and your hands together overhead. Give yourself a stretch. And then roll over onto your right side. Use your bicep as a pillow and rest for a moment. And press into your hands and come up to a seated position. When we connect with ourselves, we fill our cup so we can connect with others, so we can share who we are and share in others, so we can give and receive. Bow into your heart and thank yourself for coming here today. The light and shadow in me bows to and acknowledges the light and shadow in each of you. Namaste. I hope you all enjoy your day. Thank you so much for coming.